Okay, I am back and I am ready to react to episode 5 of The Haunting of Bly Manor. I am really enjoying the show so far. The last episode finally explored what's going on with Danny's personal trauma. Super interesting, very shocking. Shocked me to the point where I laughed a lot. Which I'm sorry if that's not your preferred reaction to that kind of shock, but that's what I have. That's what I have to offer. Our next episode. It's going to be called The Altar of the Dead. I'm trying not to look at the description right beneath. I saw the first sentence. I am being very careful not to look at the next sentence. From the thumbnail, we have another conversation between Hannah and Owen coming, and I definitely think I'm right to be picking up on something between them. It's not necessarily romantic or sexual. Could be one or either or both. But it could be completely platonic. Who knows? But I do kind of hope there's a little romance going there. I like the two of them separately, and I think I'd like the two of them together. So I guess what I'm hoping for in this episode, I want more from Hannah, I want more from Owen. I really like the both of them. Owen had a great emotional speech in the previous episode. He did a really good job making you just really feel for the character in more than just a superficial, like, yes, he lost someone, he's a fictional character, so I only feel so bad, but like, no, the actor did such a good job embodying the grief in his monologue scene at the bonfire. It was very touching, very good. I would enjoy seeing more from him, like I said, more from Hannah. I want to delve more into Jamie. I'm still worried about Jamie dying. I'm still worried about Danny potentially dying. I'm still pretty sure Miles is going to die. And of course, we still have Peter and Rebecca's ghosts possibly hanging around. There's still a hint that maybe Peter is possessing Miles. Maybe Miles is just emulating Peter. No concrete evidence that Rebecca is genuinely hanging around, but we have at least seen her once. Flora saw her standing perhaps on the other shore of the lake or in the lake itself. It's not super clear. But we've definitely seen Flora seeing her, which isn't concrete proof that Rebecca's ghost is hanging around, but it does heavily imply that there is an actual ghost of Rebecca hanging around. Not everything the children see might be a real ghost, but at this point I'm taking it to be that what the children see is real, and what Danny sees is probably not, except for maybe Peter. Basically, I guess the difference for me right now is that I'm operating under the assumption that the ghosts that are connected to Bly Manor itself are real, but the ghost that Danny brought with her is probably metaphorical. But that could be all wrong. I could be wrong about everything. I've been wrong about plenty so far, and I'm sure I'll be wrong about plenty more. So I guess let's just get episode 5 started. We have 5 episodes left. And I hope they're all just as good as the ones that have come before.
We can't count on the past. That's what I learned taking care of Mum. It's kind of what dementia is, isn't it? I suppose I learned a lot on this. I mean, we think we have it trapped in our memories, but memories fade.
I really hope it's not that she's ill.
Any of us could die at any moment.
I really like her.
And
I certainly don't want to end up...
Which is like dying.
I certainly don't want it to be that her plotline ends up with her dying.
Are you Hannah? Owen Sharma.
Okay, so we're going to do some Hannah flashbacks. I really think this is going to be the one that we find out what's going on with her then.
Sorry, I'm a little discombobulated today.
Mrs. Gross?
Did you end up in the wrong room?
Good, thank you.
Or... I mean, she did look I'm not making that up, right? She looked very confused. Girl, what is going on with you? So did she just lose time? Or is she having like a vision?
Oh my. I can arrange a ride for you. Surely you're not walking back to town, surely. I'll arrange a ride, or take you myself.
No, really,
Or you can stay here, you know. For as long as you like. Forever, if you need to. Come.
I don't know if
Let's have
this
a
is the right
drink.
series to be telling someone to stay in this stay in this house forever. And now she's outside in the day. And Miles is there and appears not to see her, which could mean that she's not really there, or somehow he just didn't notice her.
slow down, you'll break your bloody skulls.
So whatever is happening with her, it is disorienting me, so I can only assume how disoriented she must be. Okay, so there's the crack again. Interesting then, however, that she would see it before the first time we saw her see it, and yet still bring it up to Jamie. I think the thing that's throwing me off the most is that I'm not sure how to be interpreting these hard cuts. I don't know if I should be interpreting that as this is how she's perceiving her life, or if it's just an effect, like to trigger an emotional response in a viewer, or if it's meant to seem kind of literal for her.
Not from Charlotte's vanity.
Please be careful around him.
Show what's in your pocket. Funny thing about cleaning the house for years, you know exactly where everything is. Henry might be too much of a mess to notice what you're up to, but I'm not.
And what am I up to?
Oh, you're taking things that aren't yours.
Please be careful. Something is going on with your health, and this man is a threat.
There's them, and then there's us, Hannah. We're the help. What do you suppose happened when you're told to push him up? Well, you think Henry will take care of you? Or what, the kids? Do you know many housekeepers who stay on after they retire? Their lives go on, Hannah.
He's
Living honest
manipulating you.
like us, and it's weak.
He's
Honest,
specifically trying to hurt you. He wants to hurt
the
you
necklace,
to
please.
try to divorce you from the people that you actually like, so he can isolate you, so he can do what he wants.
Thank you.
Bless you for not falling for it.
You know, you should be nicer to me, Hannah.
She hasn't been
I mean,
nearly
you
mean
work
enough.
for me, and you'd be thrown out here with nothing but your last week's wages.
This is my home, Peter Quint. You'll leave long before I do.
To be perfectly honest, if this episode ends with them with a scene of her straight up killing him, I will be so pleased. Crack. Is that the real crack? Where is that?
So I'm sorry. It's going to sound strange, but
It's very
have you
interesting.
done this?
Yes,
Uh-huh.
but we have to do it again.
Okay.
Why?
You tell me.
What?
It's okay. Let's get back to it.
In Paris, I was a sous chef, which means they only let you cut vegetables. Here, I'll be putting
This
everything
is
together
fascinating.
myself.
I
It'll be a
have
great learning
no idea what's going
experience.
on, and I love it. What is this?
You'll have 2 children to cook for. Oh.
Is she like
Miles is a good boy.
maybe rehearsing things in her head?
Sweet. It's trouble, but deep down, oh, he's a good
Like retreading memories to try to
boy. No,
keep
he hasn't been the
them?
same since his parents died. But then what child would be?
I don't think it would be as literal as like she's trapped in a
What would
fucking
make you
time
say
loop.
that?
Little boys can be very cruel.
Miles is a good boy.
So you said.
He is. He's a good boy, and he would never do anything to
Hurt you? Is that what you were going to say? Whatever would make you say that?
I feel very lost.
Okay, he wouldn't hurt you.
Okay, so Miles
But
did
you
hurt
admitted
her.
He hasn't exactly been himself since his parents died.
Okay. So the crack is in a wall. There is water dripping. Miles is clicking the lighter.
We need a cook and him to stay on.
So what is the significance of her coming back? I think the two scenes that we've seen her come back to were both Owen scenes.
No.
So maybe it's
stuck in this
simply,
glue trap of
maybe
the
it's
town just
genuinely
like
that she's
everyone
just
else.
coming back to these scenes specifically because
We talked about
these are
that
the
once.
ones that she wishes she had done differently.
Technically. But I thought about it for weeks after we did. Thought about what that must feel like. That glue setting in before we really know it. That bottomless, icy terror. Realizing that we may be stuck forever. Do you think a mouse is capable of that kind of realization? Do we realize when we're in the glue? Or when the water around us is boiling? Or do we sit there saying
Yes,
this will be
but
okay?
we also jump to that conclusion.
Denial!
Okay.
It's morbid. God, that's what this is. This is morbid.
I mean, yes, this
Be
is
careful.
definitely morbid. You coming back to whatever this is.
This is one of my favorites.
So,
I don't find myself in
this is the
wanting
ghost's
often, but
memory? And she's connecting with the
I like it
ghost
when I
somehow?
do. Because he's... Well, you saw. What are you doing here? How did you slip into my...
I'm so sorry. Miss, I'm so sorry.
No, I wouldn't go out there. I think this is when it happened. I can never bring myself to what...
I'm so sorry, Miss.
Yeah, this is...
Hannah.
I assume this is the night that he died?
What are you doing up? Oh, you can sleep.
You heard something.
I guess it could be oddly as simple
I thought I said go back
as
to
her
bed.
being strangely displaced in time. Damn, she just strangled him like that. Okay. I'm not mad about it. I am concerned now for everyone's safety.
What happened?
That's a good goddamn question.
What did she do to you? Don't you remember?
Clearly not. Or maybe so?
What?
Cat.
Stop.
I'm sure she's gonna stop.
Stop, let me go.
I mean, you could go over there and try to do something about it. But suddenly you're not so tough.
Let me go!
You bitch! Let me go!
So it's not quite as straightforward as a possession. Maybe it is. It is just as straightforward as a possession. I don't love it. I don't love it. That leaves me vastly less interested in Miles, just in general. Now I'm really only interested in what the fuck is this thing?
Peter Quint! You step away from that boy, do you hear me? The police have been looking and looking for you. And when they find out that you're back...
Hannah, gross.
So that's... Yeah, so Miles...
He won't.
He will. Miles, step away.
Pushed her into the
Honestly,
well,
Hannah, you're tired of being such...
Miles.
smashed her head
You're
against
such
the
a
well.
bore, and you don't know when.
To leave well enough alone. For fuck's sake, woman!
You're dead.
It's such a shame that you had to go and follow us. It was going so well. Honestly, Hannah!
Okay, so that's... So has Hannah... Yeah, Hannah's been dead this entire time? Okay. Okay, that's not the most surprising thing. As soon as... Yeah, okay. As soon as they introduce the element... Okay, that makes sense. Alright, so that would be why she was upset by Owen proposing that she leaves. She can't leave with him. Makes sense of why she's not eating things? Yeah. Definitely makes sense of why she's seeing the crack. Yeah, with the scene specifically of Peter picking up the thing until the second that until he was invited to remember, bro, you just died. In that moment where it occurred to him, shit, I just died, suddenly he couldn't interact with things anymore. It seems like in this specific universe, it's not that your death makes you unable to interact with the world, it's that your knowledge of your death suddenly makes you more ghost-like. So if you in that moment have an awareness that you are a ghost, you become more ghost-like. But if you forget it somehow, you are not. That's very interesting lore there. I'm truly devastated that she's dead. I don't see any way that there's any denying that at this point. That very much looks like a very much lethal injury right there. So I don't think it's a matter of, she was saved. I think we're far beyond that. I think definitely at this point she is definitely dead. And it's fascinating then that implies, I mean, I guess everybody could be dead. They might all be dead at this point. Technically, I guess we've probably seen most of them eat, which I think is the thing I'm clinging to. Unless there's an element of she subconsciously knows that eating would make her realize she's dead in some way. I assume that the not eating thing is a hint that she is. It was meant to be a hint that she's been dead the whole time. Which I think puts everybody else safely in the alive category. But maybe not. Maybe not. Okay. I don't think I have anything else to say right this second. I mean, truly, I'm honestly, on the character's behalf, super impressed that she somehow managed to pull off it seems like she has genuinely achieved no one knows she's dead. That is hilarious. I love that. Wow. Okay. We have a tiny bit left in the episode. What? Let's get to it.
Mrs. Gross, I'm having the strangest dream. Miles! She's here! She's here! And she's even prettier than I imagined! The sun!
Hi, Miles. It's nice to meet you.
Oh my god.
Nice to meet you, my lady.
Oh. Well, aren't you the gentleman?
Wait, whoa.
And this must be Mrs. Gross. Hi.
She died right before?
Oh, so
Is that what I
sorry.
meant to get out of this? Jesus
Goodness, I was
Christ.
miles away. Yes, sorry, Hannah Gross. It's a pleasure to meet you.
You too.
Which is
If it was
interesting
a
because
10,
that does
I'd
imply
guess
that
omitted from One Piece.
something else
Oh.
might have happened had Danny not showed up right
It's
then.
perfect.
Oh, that's
She might not have
I guess,
rolled with the
well, that only's a fine.
lethal punches.
It's a good sort.
Yeah.
It's kind of what dementia is, isn't it? I suppose I learned a lot in this.
But how is she gonna get out
That's
of
the
this
bit, isn't it?
lie?
We can't count on the past. I mean, we think we
If
have it
it's
trapped in our memories.
if it's her
but
perception of herself as
memories fade.
if it's her lack
We could fade at any time.
of emotional connection to her own death, or her lack of like feeling the weight of it, or whatever it is, that is allowing her to continue on as if she's alive.
Paris.
What would I do?
And this seems to be like a reintegration of that trauma.
No. Croissants and drink good wine.
Can she continue
live,
operating as if she is alive
Live.
after this point?
Do whatever the hell occurs to us in the bloody moment. I'll call you later.
No, wait. No,
I know the road. It's fine.
wait,
Oh,
please.
It's all good. Christ, stay here.
that's really heartbreaking. That's so sad. Oh my god.
Owen, wait,
Girl,
wait.
you're gonna have to do something else. You're much too late.
Wait.
I told you to stay away from Peter Quint. I knew he was gonna do something fucking horrible to you. Fuck.
You're Hannah Grace. The year is 1987. You were at Bly. Miles is 10. Floor is 8. You were Hannah Grace. The year is 1987. You're at Bly. Miles is 10. Floor is 8. You were.
I don't know that this attempt at grounding yourself in the moment is gonna
You were
work.
Hannah Grace.
And I don't know what's gonna happen.
You were Hannah Grace.
I don't know what's gonna happen if she ends up more ghost-like. If she just... Oh dear. If she just straight up, like, disappears, what then? If she ends up in the same, like... If she ends up ghostly in the same sense that, Peter is, where, like, you can only kind of, like, catch glimpses of him, and then he can possess people... I mean, I would assume that she's going to end up in the same circumstances sooner or later, unless she gets to, you know, like move on or something, however that would work within the confines of this little mythology. I'm not like 100% shocked by that twist, but that was definitely not something that I was counting on. No. If you'd asked me, no. Until that moment, if you had asked me, is she dead? I'd been like, tiny chance. That is so, I'm so sad. She is absolutely my favorite. That's so sad. Oh my god. I guess I have to stop shipping them. Okay. Well, and I was so worried that something bad was going to happen to her. Fuck. And so technically, something bad happened to her, like, within what, the first half hour of the first episode? She had just died before she came on the screen for the first time. Infuriating. Oh my god. That's so sad. I'm so sad. But that is very interesting. That does solve the mystery of, like, why and how is she interacting with the ghosts. Very interesting. It solves the mystery of, like I said, the food thing. Why she's, like, zoning out from time to time. You know, and I guess it's being a ghost. She has, like, a very very loose connection to time, as evidenced by the fact that she has to kind of keep repeating her name, the ages and names of the children, the year that it is. She has to keep reminding herself of the actual details, I suppose, so that she can tether herself more strongly to the delusion that she's alive, so that she can maintain the physical interaction, and by that, the social interaction. Which, again, heartbreaking. That's so fucking sad. Oh my god. That's so sad. Like, almost any other character, I'm unsurprised that it was her character that happened to. But I think any other character, had it happened to, I would have been less heartbroken by it. I love her. Fuck. That sucks. That is so terrible. And because at this point I can only assume that where we're going with her, it's either going to be there's only two options from here. Either there's going to be a thing of we're going to undercut the concept of the housekeeper doesn't get kept on after she retires, after she's too old. We're going to undercut that by being like, well, you died young and now you're stuck here genuinely forever. There's no moving on. You do not get to leave. Sorry. Or we're going to go the opposite direction, and like she didn't want to ever have to leave, and she was worried about living in circumstances where she's not there anymore, and instead she died there young, was murdered there, and so she has to do the the processing of leaving the place as a fucking ghost, and then that's the leaving Bly Manor becomes, it's not something she dreads, but like moving on to whatever new phase of her ghostly existence. I don't know. And I don't know which of those is more likely an outcome at this point. And both could be done very well. Both could be, thematically resonant and very satisfying to watch. But that was, it's a good twist. It solves the mystery of the crack. I guess it also does kind of answer, it does very slightly answer, not like the most satisfying answer, but it does answer why the first time she saw the crack, she didn't perceive that it wasn't really on that particular wall.
No, that's not what I meant.
That was such a mind screw episode. That was great. Very disorienting in like the first, I don't know, fourth, third of it. Yeah, very, very well done. I really enjoy that. And at this point in the series, we're over the halfway point now. It's definitely safe to say that Mike Flanagan's thing for these Netflix shows definitely seems to be he likes doing character exploration episodes specifically. He likes specifically doing episodes where the first one will be everybody, and then as we move into the rest of the story, the narrative segments, the specific episodes are devoted to specific characters, and the story unfolds specifically character by character until in Hill House it was, I think, around episode, I want to say 6 or 7, that the plot lines reintegrated and it stopped being, for the most part, it stopped being focused on any particular character, with the exception of Olivia in the second to last episode, which I imagine we're going to be doing something similar here, where we're going through the different characters' episodes and then we're going to reintegrate everybody back together like the way the first episode was, with a focus on one specific character. But not like deep into their point of view. Let's see, yeah. First episode was kind of everybody, with Danny as the main character. Second episode was Miles's backstory. Third episode was Peter's backstory, Peter and Rebecca's backstory. Fourth episode was Danny's backstory. Fifth episode was Hannah's backstory. We have 6, 7, 8, and 9 left. I want to go with who haven't we done yet? Owen, Jamie, Flora, the uncle. Owen, Jamie, Flora, and the uncle. And the ghost. This lake thing. I suspect we're gonna get another flashback episode specifically related. Actually, as a matter of fact, I don't even need to guess. The flashback episode for Peter and Rebecca was called The Two Faces, Part 1. So I assume The Two Faces Part 2. Well, I assume there is an episode called The Two Faces Part 2. I'm not going to scroll down and check. But I assume there's definitely an episode called The Two Faces Part 2. I assume it's going to be another flashback for Peter and Rebecca. May not be, but that is what I think it's going to be. Which leaves Flora, what did I say? Flora, Owen, Flora, Owen, Jamie, Henry. 4 episodes left, 4 people who haven't gotten their flashbacks, but I think one of them is going to be another Peter and Rebecca flashback. So I honestly don't think we're going to get Jamie flashbacks. I kind of don't think we're going to get Owen flashbacks. I feel like episode 4 was Owen's episode. He didn't get the flashbacks, but yeah, so I would assume we're probably going to get 2 more flashback episodes. Maybe one for Flora. Yeah, probably. I think my prediction at this point would be that we're going to get a Flora flashback episode maybe next. And that one will probably give us more information on, if not the ghosts, then the dolls. And then we're going to get a flashback of Peter and Rebecca. And then maybe 2 episodes of everybody back together and just the fallout of everything. That's my guess so far. And that was a very interesting episode, solely for the fact that it was just such a character exploration. That episode was almost entirely past. I don't think there was a single scene in that episode that wasn't in the past. All of episode 5 took place before the end of episode 4. Which is very interesting. I don't think, honestly, before I saw that episode, I would never have guessed that we're going to get an episode set entirely on flashbacks and retreadings of the same scenes we've already seen. So maybe it's kind of dumb to say that I don't think we're going to get another episode like that, since I wasn't even expecting one. But I don't. And all in all, I'm really satisfied so far with the way the story is coming together. There's a good, steady pace at which all the mysteries are slowly being solved. Nothing is completely solved yet, but everything is coming together at a nice pace, at least so far. There's still a big question mark around almost all of the supernatural stuff. We got a little bit more of a glimpse. Obviously now we know the circumstances of Peter's death and how he became a ghost, and we know the circumstances of Hannah's death and how she became a ghost. But we don't know really anything about any of the other ghosts that are here. We don't know the circumstances of their deaths. We don't know exactly who is here and who's not. We don't know what the thing in the lake is. We don't know if... It might be that anybody that dies on the grounds becomes a ghost. It might be anybody that dies, period, on the face of the earth becomes a ghost. It might be anybody that is killed by a ghost becomes a ghost. And then, of course, we still have this element in the opening credits of the faces being smoothed over. And that being the case also for the thing in the lake, which we now know is murderous. It genuinely was that the children are trying to keep Danny safe from the thing in the lake, not the other way around. So, and we also don't know what's going on with the dollhouse. Flora, that in the scene where Peter died, the children specifically referred to it as something like something weird happened with the dollhouse, which implies to me that that hadn't happened before. So, but they didn't seem especially surprised. The way they were talking, it was as if they had communicated with the other ghosts in the place, and the ghosts made them aware of the lake thing, which is interesting because so far at that point in time, the only unaccounted for ghost or mysterious thing that I can think of is that thing that moved in the basement. Peter wasn't dead yet. Rebecca wasn't dead yet. It's possible that the parents are haunting the place too. But I would think that the children would have hinted at that. Well, no, I guess Flora did kind of hint at that. She did say that she was very sad until she realized that dead doesn't mean gone. So that could very much imply that they are experiencing their parents haunting them. And I suppose we did see that that very inexplicable memorial, I guess I should call it, in the little chapel thing that Flora was doing a rubbing for. Someone that died in 16 whatever, although someone that died in 16 whatever and seems completely unrelated to everyone else, that could be whoever's in the lake. That might be the person in the lake. In America, specifically telling me about a mysterious woman that died in the late 1600s, what that would evoke for me is thoughts of witch trials. But I don't know if that would translate to a story set in England. I don't know if that's a reasonable assumption to make there. But I mean, it could be something as straightforwardly spooky as, like this was a witch and they killed her and she ended up in the lake and now she kills people. Or maybe this was an innocent woman that was accused of witchcraft and ended up in the lake and now it could be genuinely anything. And there might be a big hint that I'm just missing. Yeah. I mean, we could go into the old trope of like, there's an ancestor who, I don't know, like took up with a servant girl or something and she got pregnant or something and like drowned herself in the lake and now she comes back and she kills people in the house of the man that wronged her or something like that. It could really be anything at this point. I think right now that's what I want the most. Right now, I truly think what I want the next episode to be is I want the next episode to be a Flora-centric flashback episode. And I want to get a good grasp of what is happening with these dolls, what is happening with these ghosts, what does Flora know, what does Flora not know, and who's haunting who? And is anybody else fucking dead? Who else is dead? I'm gonna lose my mind if someone else turns out to be dead all along. That's so crazy, and I love it. But yeah, I guess that was episode 5. We are halfway through this show. I'm really enjoying it. I'm sure I'm gonna enjoy the rest of it. I really hope I hope they land the ending. I really hope I enjoy it. I'm gonna be back as soon as I can. I'm gonna watch the next episode as soon as I can, that's for sure, and I'm gonna hope to get it to you as quickly as I can. Alright, so I will be back with episode 6 as soon as I can. I'm so excited. I cannot wait to see how the rest of this show plays out. I'm having a lot of fun. I really am. So I will be back as soon as possible.